Grain is the only thing that makes you fat. You've got to understand that. My grandfather told us as we were little kids on the farm, grain for gain, protein for production. Remember that, just as a mantra, grain for gain, protein for production. Okay? You want the cow to be fit and healthy, you feed it protein. If you want it to get fat, ready for market, you feed it grain. This is a rotting tank. The only thing that actually becomes your life force is what rots. The quicker it rots, the easier it is for your body. This is the rotting tank. It only hurries up what happens naturally in nature. Right? That the stupidity of anybody says, don't eat meat, it's a heavy food, it doesn't rot, or it rots too easy, or it doesn't rot properly. That's why when we give the cow, which has got 500% increase in fermentation process of what we got, okay? Because you've got this huge long fermenter, okay? If we give it grain, even ground up into flour, only 20% of the nutrition is available to her. 80% is not even available. And she's 500% more efficient than you. And you think bread is food. Ground beef comes from the lowest, poorest quality animal. It comes from the old cows from the dairy industry and the bull herd, okay? Prime beef comes from a 300-day-old animal that probably spent 200 days on the farm and maybe 100 days on the feedlot at best. Okay, 90% of all your prime beef is basically range cattle. Grass-fed will have a different flavour, a more stronger flavour. Okay, grain-fed in the feedlot will be actually more tender, because when you feed a cattle a high level of grain, the fat layer, which is actually not cellulose, it's not toxins, it's actually the essential amino acids, it's omega-3 and omega-6 complex, gets layered down between the fissures of the meat. And grass feed, they lay it on the outside. Now, fat is the only thing your body needs. In fact, even when you eat meat, that's not the best quality protein. Actually, the fat is the actual best quality protein. Okay? Remember, there's got to come essential fatty acids. See the lies you've been told? That's why the Eskimos ate the blubber, not the meat. Okay? And fat, remember, can never make you fat. So the grass-fed layer of the essential omega-3 and omega-6 get laid on the outside of the muscle. When you corn-feed it, it gets layered down through the fissures, which is not as healthy. But it makes the meat very tender. And that's what Americans think they want. Okay? That's why when they go to New Zealand, which we've got no grain-fed beef, they can't. It's tough and everybody bitches, but oh my God, this stuff tastes good. Yes, also when we look at the frequency of energy around the molecule through electron microscope, we've actually got a much stronger field on the grass-fed. Yes, yes, yes. So it fires a bigger spark. Okay, now from the grass-fed, if you go catch a wild animal, it's even got bigger field. Okay, and we've done this very, very thoroughly in New Zealand at our Ruakura Ag Research with the fish in the fish tanks, you know. Wonderful, healthy fish in the salmon tanks, okay? But when we look at their field, it's same nutrition, same total digestible nutrients even, but it doesn't fire the big enough spark because it hasn't got a big enough field or strong enough field, which can only be seen on electron microscope with Kirlian photography. And so if it hasn't got a big enough field to start with, it can't capacitor charge. In other words, it's not a big enough capacitor. So the more in nature it is, the greater the capacitor build up here to fire a bigger spark. And remember, the spark is what becomes your life, not the food. Got to understand that, guys. It's the lightning strike that becomes you.